The information provided on this show does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all information on this show is for general informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for legal advice, and we recommend viewers consult an attorney for specific legal matters.
Good morning and welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs. I'm Karen Curtis with attorney Eric Glazer, right there, board certified in community
Good morning.
law. Good morning. We're here every morning at 11. That may change, but just hold on.
Every Sunday morning.
Every Sunday morning. That may change. Also, we're here on the YouTube channel, and we're here because we have so many fantastic sponsors who truly offer the best services in South Florida. One of them, Affinity, and they've been with you
forever,
since you had the radio show for 15 years.
Yep.
The same sponsors.
Yep.
That says something.
Best Roofing just became a diamond sponsor. How much can we thank them for that?
Best Roofing.
Incredible.
And they've been good to your roof.
They have last week. They certainly were. That's right.
So I'm Karen Curtis, and I'm here again with pleasure with Eric Glazer. He is with Glazer and Sachs in Hollywood, and he also has a law firm in Orlando. So Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, but
we're all around the state.
You're all around the state.
We represent associations all around the state.
You do, and you can do Zoom and all that. So
easy stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's easy peasy.
Yeah.
No problem.
You can be anywhere. You're omnipresent.
The physical location means nothing.
You're
anymore.
like God.
It's the bottom anymore.
Physical location.
Everywhere.
You're everywhere. Oh my God. And we'd love to get the phone lines going early. Robert's ready for you. The number to call to ask a question about your condo, your HOA, whether you're a resident, on the board, running for the board, whatever. The laws are crazy. They're all new. Give us a call in the studio, and the number is 717-GLAZER-8 with a Z. That's 717-452-9378. And you can visit, of course, on the chat box, ask us questions. Some people call and ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everybody. So happy to be with you on Sunday morning. As Karen said, don't forget to subscribe to two things. Number one, the Condo Craze and HOAs channel on YouTube. You can watch the show live, or you can even watch the show when the show is done, or anytime during the week at your pleasure. Our library just grows and grows and grows each week. Great resource place to go for questions. And of course, join our email list at condocrazeandhoas.com. By joining each week, you're going to get announcements about the show. You'll know when our seminars are, and we're going to talk about that in a little while. You'll get updates on the law and a whole lot more. And of course, every single Monday morning, we do a blog at hoa-condoblog.com. Again, hoa-condoblog.com. Tomorrow's topic, let's talk termination, the topic that will be dominating the condo headlines in the coming years.
Termination.
Termination. Where else can they find us, Karen? We're kind of all over the place.
So we're on Facebook, TikTok, Apple, Spotify, and Twitter. Our handle on Twitter is Condo Craze HOAs.
So they can follow us on Twitter, and they can follow us on Facebook as well.
So we're bouncing around the idea that we might switch the show to Thursday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, let's
when
let's
you
talk
call,
about that.
when you call in, tell us what you think. Would you prefer to join us live on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock, or do you want to keep it as we've been doing it on Sundays?
Karen is saying we've been thinking about making a major move here when it comes to the show. We've been on Sundays at 11 a.m. for 15, 16 years
We were
now.
noon at one time.
We were noon at one time, right.
That's the only change we've made.
Exactly. It started to interfere with football a little bit, right? So I'm like,
God
I don't want to compete with the
church.
NFL.
Church.
Right, exactly, right. You know, that's the only thing I'm afraid of.
Church, screw it.
Right. And I'll be honest, you know, I'll tell you that people that go to church have been telling me for many years that it's impossible for them to watch the show live because of going to religious services. So here we are thinking about making a big change in the show from Sunday mornings for the first time.
In our lives.
Right. And I mean, after 15 years, think about it.
Yeah.
People have gotten used to us at Sunday mornings at 11 a.m.
I've gotten used to you.
That's exactly. What will we do without each other on Sunday mornings,
I'll wake
right?
up Sunday morning.
Yes. What the hell are we going to do with our weekends? So I asked Robert to do us a favor, and I said, Robert, tell us, run a survey out there, and find out what people think. So Robert ran a really great survey on Constant Contact when we send out all our emails. Rob, I'll leave it to you to tell the results to everybody.
Yeah, what was the result of the survey?
We had over 400 vote, which was a very
big.
healthy amount of people, and about 63% voted yes to moving it to a weekday at 7 p.m.
Cool.
So that's a lot.
So we want to hear from you, though.
60, that's what, 63 to 37.
Don't you
doing
make
the
me
math.
do math.
Right, 60, that's, so only, so think about that. Only 37% of the people want us to keep it on Sundays. That's what we're talking about. So overwhelming number of people, when you
like
think about it that
3/4.
way, yeah, want us to change it
Yeah.
to during the week. So do we have to play to the crowd, right? We got to appease the audience. So I think what we're going to do going forward, maybe a week or two,
Yeah,
weeks,
yeah.
right? Got to give
So
some
people get
notice
used
here
to
after 15 years. Some people are on vacation.
Rip the Band-Aid
right?
off.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Maybe it makes sense to do September 1st, somewhere around there, starting in September. I think that would make sense, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think starting in September, the show switches to Thursday nights.
If you can't be there live, it'll be available.
I think a lot more people are
Yeah.
going to be there live. A lot more people are going to be there live. I really do believe that. Sunday's tough. We, thank God, we build up a great audience on Sunday mornings. And really, I can't thank everybody enough for that.
You know,
But Sunday cuts into church. Sunday cuts into your weekends. And despite that, we were able to build up a great audience. I think we're going to do even better during the week. I really do.
that was largely dictated by the radio time available.
That's right, correct.
That
at the
wasn't
time.
our choice.
That's correct, at the time.
So we could take any time.
Correct. YouTube has allowed us to do whatever the hell we want. So first of all, I want to really thank everybody for responding to the survey. And the bottom line is you dictate, not us. The audience that has been so loyal to us, you have to dictate when it's most convenient for you, not for us. We're here for you. So I think starting September, we'll give some notice. We'll every week when we announce the show, we'll start saying, okay, September 1, remember, Thursday nights. And we'll make the switch in September. What do you say, guys? Big
I like it.
switch.
And let us know what you think when you call or in the chat box as well.
Right, exactly. When you call in today, we want to know what you think. That's
if someone has a good, argument for not moving it, let us know.
Right, exactly. Okay, now let's get back to what we're here to talk about, right? So if you remember when we did the show last week about the new powers of the DBPR to help owners of condominiums, it seems like, if you remember, Karen, we went back and forth. We went on and on and on about the new powers that the DBPR has to help people that live in condominiums. But here's what happened. After we did the show, after I blogged about it, some HOA owners, they were appalled. They were like, wait a minute, hold on, look how much help the owners in a condominium got. And again, with a red-headed stepchild, again, we're ignored. And they were like, is there anybody that's going to help us get any help at all? Or did the DBPR forget about us again?
Boy, they're ungrateful in HOAs because they got new laws that made it hands off.
That's true. They did.
Or like, oh, go
They
ahead.
got new laws,
Yeah,
but they got
so-
no help from the DBPR. So,
Okay, well, I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
They get no help. It's clear that the Florida legislature doesn't want HOAs regulated in any way. But their HOAs aren't looking at regulation. They're looking at some way to get some sort of
they got the help. In other words,
accountability.
the changes to the, right. The changes to the law they got, right? But if a law has no way of enforcing it, really no teeth, did you really get anything at all, right?
Right.
So they're looking at an agency to kind of help them enforce these new laws. But you made a statement that, well, the legislature doesn't want HOAs to get regulated, right? So let me prove your point.
Okay.
This is what the Florida statute actually says, and it's 720.302. Okay, this is right out of the box. This is the way the HOA statute starts. The legislature recognizes that it is not in the best interest of homeowner associations or the individual association members thereof to create or impose a bureau or other agency of state government to regulate the affairs of homeowner associations. There you have it. Right out of the box, they say. It's not in HOA's best interest. I mean,
But didn't you say that like the large percentage of lawmakers live in an HOA?
that's right. No, that's
Like
right.
one lives in a condo?
Well, maybe they don't want to be regulated, right?
I know. It only costs $4 a year.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so, you know, it's really clear there's a double standard here,
Sure.
obviously,
No
between
question.
condos and HOAs.
There is, and it certainly begs the question, if having a bureau or other agency of the state regulating the affairs of a homeowner association, if that's not in the best interest of homeowner associations, why is it in the best interest of condo associations to have a bureau or other agency regulating their affairs? Does that make sense? Why is
No.
it good for one and not for the other?
Well, then nothing is, you know, homogeneous or, you know, universal in
Yep.
these things.
Yes.
Like, you know, I wish a lot of things in our lives would be universal,
Yep.
but this is not, and it's, I don't know if
That
it's
just
fair.
doesn't make sense.
I mean, obviously members of the homeowners association have the same questions, the same complaints as
You
those
would
who live
think,
in a condo.
right? So why don't they have the same bureau? But, you know, if you're right,
They have reserves in HOAs? Yeah.
of course they do, yes. Not mandatory, but they have it, you know. But if you're right, why do condos need to be regulated? It's mandatory that they get regulated by the DBPR, and HOAs don't. I mean, I can't think of a logical reason why it should not be completely one way or the other.
That's
Why
right.
is it split up? I don't get it.
Well, probably because it's been so long. I mean, if the Florida legislature is against regulation by the DBPR of HOAs, then how in the world can they demand regulation
right.
for a condo?
Yeah, I know this, like you just said it, apparently at the time of the collapse of the Champlain Towers, only one member of the Florida legislature lived in a condominium. That was Senator Pizzo. And apparently our legislators don't want regulation in their communities that they live in their HOAs. And listen, I'm not debating for the purposes of today, I'm not debating whether the DBPR is necessary or not. That's not the point of the show today.
They can come up with their own regulatory body if they want.
Okay, maybe something other than the DBPR. I don't know, but one is regulated, one is not. And I'm not here to say, you know, which one's better and which one isn't better in terms of regulation to have it or not. My point is that there's no argument that could be made where one should be totally regulated and one there's a completely hands-off approach. It just doesn't make sense to me, you know.
I mean, it actually gives the board more power, right?
Boards are a little tougher in an HOA because they feel they can certainly get away with a lot more.
You can't
I know that.
appeal their decision.
There's nobody watching them.
Nobody watching.
It's like, okay, take me to court.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line in an
Right.
HOA. You don't like it, take me to court. In a condo, you can always file a complaint,
Right.
you know.
And I think we also surveyed everyone, excuse me,
It's a mixed bag.
yeah, it's a mixed bag.
And some owners,
Oh, you asked what they thought.
yeah, and some owners would love for HOA to have some regulation. And some owners wouldn't like it. They don't want to be regulated. You know, I don't doubt there's a wide variety of opinions out there if you live in an HOA. But the bottom line is, why doesn't the legislature treat them the same? Somebody call me, somebody tell me, because I can't get it. Why can't you just make the HOA members pay a lousy $4 a year and everybody's treated the same? But I've put this out there for a while, and I really haven't heard a response from anybody that makes sense, that tells me why one is regulated and one isn't. I don't know.
If the DBPR had had presence during the hammocks situation, what would have happened? Would that have been able to fly?
Maybe. I mean, especially now, I think it would have been able to proceed a little quicker.
Okay.
Because now the DBPR must refer things to criminal law enforcement if they find any evidence whatsoever of a crime taking place.
In an HOA?
In a condo.
Oh, okay.
In a condo. Well, that's I'm saying. And you're saying if the HOA
Yeah.
was regulated by
Yeah,
DBPRs,
at the time.
and you had the same
Would it
laws,
have stopped it?
and the DBPR would have referred it quickly
Yeah.
to law enforcement, and they don't have that. They still don't have that. So think about that.
instead, the people that lived there had to go to the police, and the
go
police are always
convince-
hands off.
Don't you think they're dealing with murders and rapes and robberies and
Yeah.
you know? So this comes in, you know, towards the bottom of the
Thank
list
God
of
for
important things.
Catherine Fernandez Rundle.
She did it, right?
She figured
right.
it out, yeah.
But again, someone call in, tell me why one gets regulated and the other doesn't. Just what do you think? We also want to know, of course, when you call in, you got to let us know. Really important for us. Do we switch to Thursday nights at 7 p.m. or do you like us here on Sunday mornings at 11? Taking your calls today, 717-GLAZER-8. Again, 717-GLAZER-8, 717-452-9378, or drop us a comment or question in the chat box. Be back right after this.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel of the same name. Well, we are on time. Good for you.
We are. You know what? I really didn't want to talk about this, but I think that we have to talk about it because some of our listeners might have heard about this and are a little spooked out.
You're a kerfuffle?
Yeah, so let's, got to talk about this delicately, but here's how we're going to do this. So in the beginning of the week, the DBPR made what I would say is an insane, crazy announcement. And the announcement basically said that only they can teach the board certification classes.
That you invented.
And
got passed as a law.
I can't teach them anymore, and no other attorney can teach them anymore.
Because it's confusing.
Whatever. They shouldn't be so confused, okay? So let's just say I made it clear that if that's the road they're going to take, I'm going to go into court and say, not only can I teach them, you can't teach them anymore because that's practicing law without a license, and there's a Supreme Court case right on point that says you can't teach law without a license. So don't make me do that because I really think I got the upper hand on this one. So let's be friends.
Or they'd have to hire attorneys at the DBPR to
Which
teach
I already spoke to, the top of the top of the top. Let's put it that way. So tomorrow I'm supposed to, and again, this is not to embarrass the DBPR today at all. The problem is a lot of the viewers, a lot of the listeners heard this already. And I know a lot of them are freaked out, and I wouldn't be surprised if I got a call today that said, hey, we heard you can't teach this anymore. So I'm just letting you know, deep breath,
calm down,
relax, I took care of it. So tomorrow I'm supposed to be getting a phone call and a text and an email and a letter and all of that stuff saying, you're right, Eric, it's good, go teach your classes.
Can you imagine you have all those classes set up, people are signed up
so
for them?
So did you think I was going to give in to that?
No.
Come on, right? So we were going to be in court.
And you do it for free.
Was that a way to treat the people that live in Florida, right? And by the way, they were only going to give a video to watch, no live class.
Oh my gosh.
So let's just say, you know, were the people of the state of Florida going to suffer if we did it that way? Of course.
So they're probably still going to do the video though, right?
I don't know. I don't care because no one wants that anyway. People would much rather go to a live class.
You can't ask a video questions.
Of course. And they're not allowed to answer questions. And what do people go to? Ask a million questions.
why.
That's my love, to stand there and answer the questions. So let's just say if you've heard about this insanity, deep breath, relax. It should all work out tomorrow morning. And next week when we do this show, right, I'm going to let you know that everything worked out. In fact, I'm so positive it's going to work out.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Are you sure about
you
those 5
sure?
minutes? Right? Right. So I'm so positive that it's going to work out, right? That I'm going to announce our classes again. Okay? Remember, guys, that you don't get certified within. You sure about those 5 minutes? That's one of my favorite lines. Anyway, so yes, let's talk about the classes. As you know, if you don't get certified within 90 days of getting on a board, you're off the board. Here is the date. Yes, I will be teaching
The
them.
PBR's case does not
The
hold water.
That's right. Okay, we start off October 9th.
Yes,
Palm Beach Convention Center, by the way, these are all at the L&L Condo and HOA Expo, starting at 8:30. They've always given me the honor of kicking off the event. So again, L&L Condo and HOA Expo, 8:30 a.m., October 9th, Palm Beach Convention Center, 2 months away. Can't wait. What great facilities they got there.
And you have your sponsors there too, yes?
And a lot of the sponsors are there as well. Yes, that's correct.
October 15th, you'll be in Broward at the Broward Convention Center.
The 24th, 9 days later, love going to Tampa at the Tampa Bay Convention Center.
And October 29th, Bradenton Convention Center.
And we end it November 13th in Orlando at the Orange County Convention Center. Karen, if there ever was a year to take the class,
yeah,
this is the class.
There's a lot to learn.
There's just so much. We talk about it all the time. We don't have to run through all the topics,
no,
but there's a lot of changes to the law this
right.
year. Tremendous changes to condos and HOAs. 4-hour mandatory course, by the way.
Yeah.
Mandatory education.
And people wanted you to go longer, so that's good.
Exactly. You always wanted a 4-hour class. You got the 4-hour class. So this year, again, for both condos and HOAs, got to start out with that class. Okay.
Are they full, or can they still register?
They can still register, but I can tell you, we normally have, a few hundred. I wouldn't be shocked if, when all's said and done, we get 1,000 registered for the class. So just register early.
And you can have 1,000 people?
It's their problem at L&L to figure out where everybody's going to sit. So,
Eric,
yeah.
Sorry, it's worth mentioning that you're not going to be at the Bradenton.
The Bradenton
event,
one
right?
I won't be at. That's correct. Bradenton I won't be at.
What do you mean?
So I don't want to mislead her. Somebody else can teach Bradenton.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Somebody else. But the class will still be held there. I won't be at that one though. Okay. But if you want to register, just go to condocrazeandhoas.com. Condocrazeandhoas.com. Rob, let's take our first call of the day.
All right,
Who do we got?
Let's go to Helen.
Good morning, Helen.
Helen.
Yes, hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. This is Helen from Miami.
Helen,
and
how are you?
I live in a condo.
So wait a minute. Hold on. You
question
got to
is-
let us know. You got to let us know. What's your thoughts about switching to Thursday night?
I like Sunday morning.
Okay, there's one for Sunday.
Wha-
Weekdays, yeah, tired from work and just kind of want to have dinner and relax a bit.
Okay, we're keeping track. Thank you, Helen. Now we'll answer your question.
Okay, so this is regarding one of the new laws that passed recently,
Sure.
effective July 1st, and that is the responsibility of past management companies to hand over documents to new management companies.
Yep.
Now, in my case, there are documents that were never produced by the old management companies. Not only did the new management company not have these documents, they were never produced in the first place, meaning
Right.
they were never generated
Okay.
by the prior management. So what responsibility is there on the new management company to actually make these documents, to create them, or to require the past management company to do it, even though they're no longer the management company for the property now?
The answer is none and none, unless there's something in the contract that requires that new management company to create these documents that were never created in the first place. What does the contract require of them? The fact that these documents were never created in the first place may be a breach of contract on the old management company, and maybe something should be done about that. Maybe they need to be sued for not producing certain things that you guys need now. But it's not the responsibility of the new management company to create documents that the old management company should have created. So, again, no liability on their part.
All right, so only documents that did exist. For example, if the minutes have not been handed over, they are required to, I don't know.
How can the new management company create minutes if they weren't even at these meetings, unless there's, somebody else took down notes or took down, a set of minutes? They can't. They weren't there at the meeting. What do you want them to do? So no, it's certainly not their responsibility. Okay, but the first one potentially, depending on what they didn't create, if they put the condo or HOA in a bad position, you might have a cause of action against them. I'll tell you this for everybody out there. There's no joke this year when it comes to CAMs. The legislature has gone after community association managers with a vengeance. The new laws really, really, really make them responsible for wrongdoing to community associations, and if they screw up, we're talking about massive fines. We're talking about $1,000 a day for failing to turn over records. It's pretty decent fine for, I think, up to 20 days. So we're talking about potentially a $20,000 fine against a management company for failing to turn over records on time. So it's no joke, and I wrote a blog about this. Managers, you are in the radar, and the legislature put you right in the radar. So yeah, thank you so much for the call, Helen, and making that clear to everybody today.
The record.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
On the website.
It should be on the website, but listen, some management companies just can't keep up. They don't do it, and I wouldn't play that game anymore.
Okay.
If you can't keep up with the requirements of the statute, management companies, don't take the client.
They can't look at it as a pain in the ass that someone that lives in the community wants records.
Not at all.
They used to look at it
It's an obligation, period. It's no joke anymore, management companies. I'm telling you, you don't do what you're required to do under the statute, under the contract.
You're there because of these people.
100%. And the legislature has focused in on you, telling you. And if you're a CAM and you're listening to the show, if you don't have a copy of the new laws, I do. Feel free to email me. I'd be glad to send them to you. It's no joke. Okay, they focused in on you. You can lose your license. You can wind up getting hit with a big fine. Concentrate, comply. Okay, let's take the next call, Robert.
All right, let's go to Juliet. Seems like she has a parking question.
Juliet, my Juliet, how can I help you?
A rose by name.
Yeah.
Julia, I'm sorry, Julia. How are you?
Good. I'm glad. I hope you change it to Thursday.
There's
like
one
that
for
better.
Thursday nights. We're even. Thank you so much. How can we help?
Question is regarding the new law effective July 1st for commercial vehicles. Is it if they're under 3 tons that they can park on their driveway with their commercial plates? Commercial signs on it?
Yeah, basically, yeah, unless it meets the definition of a commercial vehicle under Florida law, which is, I forgot how many tons, but it's massive. Nobody's, we're not talking about those kind of vehicles. Basically, any kind of vehicle, even if it has commercial, right? Basically, if it has any kind of even commercial writing, stuff like that, yes, you can park it in your driveway.
But no common areas.
Yeah, I don't believe, I remember looking at it recently, and it doesn't say that. It doesn't say anything about common areas. It says in your driveway.
So you can just park the fuel truck in the circle
right.
in front of the clubhouse.
Yeah, right. No, you can park it in your driveway, but I don't think it says anything else about parking it anywhere. Now, I don't know if people have seen this. It's on, I think it's on the website of CCFJ, Jan Bergman's website. One of the HOAs in northern Florida or in central Florida said, well, guess what? We don't have Kaufman language in our documents. We don't care what the new law says.
It's happening.
In our documents, it says we can prevent commercial vehicles, writing from being parked in anybody's driveway. We're not listening to the new law. How about that one? So if you're in an HOA, you got to realize most HOAs don't have it. They have no Kaufman language. So again, you got to take a look at your original declaration, your original contract. If it takes away the rights of a party to do something, like let's say your original documents say that there will be no vehicles parked in driveways that have commercial letters or commercial writing of any kind. And now suddenly this new legislation changes that.
But what's the right? The right?
The right is of the board to live in a community with vehicles with no commercial writing. That's the community we chose to live in.
Because it's taking away the rights of
Now,
people to have.
We think it's ugly.
Okay,
we think it's ugly.
Okay.
So we think it's ugly.
They're taking away their
Right. So now you can't
beautification.
you can't take away my right to live in a community that we think is pretty when there's no commercial cars. Is it an argument? It sure is a damn argument. Okay?
And you want to argue it at the Supreme Court.
It is. It is exact. All this needs to get up to the Supreme Court. I'm out there for hire.
Hello.
This needs to get to the Supreme Court again. So, so if you can believe that, Julia, that's where we are right now. Where for HOAs especially, none of the new laws apply. You broke up, Julia.
I think she's doing dishes.
Julia, we lost you. Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Nope, you didn't hear the last thing you said. Go ahead.
I said in our documents it states that both commercial vehicles, unless they're here for work purposes, like a vendor or working on someone's property.
So if that were to change, right, and all of a sudden that provision in your declaration is meaningless, it takes away the right of the board, the association, to enforce the no commercial vehicles in your home provision. The board can say, potentially, we don't have Kaufman language, doesn't apply to us. All of this, again, the reason I'm saying it, I don't want to create chaos. That's the last thing I do.
It just exists.
But it's out there already. I'm just telling everybody what's out there already, the arguments that I've already seen. So you're going to see this more and more and more in HOAs. We have an insane problem in the state of Florida. It needs to be fixed immediately. So until then, Julia, it's up to the board. Does the board want to listen to it? Does the board not want to listen to it and take their chances?
Right.
We're not going to know the answer until we get a court decision on this. Someone's going to roll the dice, and a court will have to decide on this.
I have a question. I guess if the recreational pot amendment passes, can people smoke pot at the pool in a condo?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's going to be a amendment to the state constitution. So.
And there's no where, time, place, any kind of provision in the law that says you can't light up at a restaurant
well, that's
or
interesting.
in your condo.
Would a change to the Constitution make a change to the Declaration and make that unconstitutional? But it is in the Constitution. That's even crazier. I don't know the answer to that right now.
Because it's going to be
recreational pot everywhere. Yeah, I'll tell you my vote on the show. I'm a downer on it. I don't want it. Yeah, I don't want it. I'm just not in favor of increasing recreational drugs. That's me, but I have a feeling I'm in the minority on that.
No, you're not. I don't think. Well, I don't know.
I don't know. Hey, let's do this. Let's take our bottom of the hour break. Taking the calls, everybody. What's the hell's the number?
717-452-9378.
717-452-9378. You're not going to believe what number I was about to say.
Yes, I know. 717 Glazer 8 with a Z.
Yes, I was in my head. I was doing the radio shows.
That's okay.
717 Glazer 8. Back right after this.
Rimkus Consultants offer the professional expertise to help condominium and cooperative communities provide safe, compliant buildings for their tenants. We have more than 170 Florida licensed engineers and architects who are experienced with local regulations and can assist with Senate Bill 4D compliance. We can help with milestone structural inspections, capital expenditure evaluations, structural integrity reserve studies, and developer transition reports. Focusing on energy, resilience, maintainability, and sustainability, our experts can help with every phase of the building life cycle. For mitigation after a catastrophic event, building restoration, repair and remediation consulting, or Senate Bill 4D inspections, please visit rimkus.com.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. Karen Curtis with attorney Eric Glazer, board certified. He is in community association law. And we're discussing a couple of things on here on the chat box. Generally, you were talking about the DBPR regulating HOAs. Yep. Eric writes in, not you, Eric Stoltz. Yes. It's true that less government is better government, Ronald Reagan, and the worst word you'll ever hear from the government is that we're here and we're here to help.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's an old saying. I think Ronald Reagan actually said that.
He did.
Yeah, right. I'm here from the government, we're here to help.
And you have a blog, but you have two blogs and there's a search question.
Yes, there's a little confusion. If you want to do a search by topic, right? I mean, fantastic way to search for any topic you want. You've been blogging forever. Go to our show's website at condocrazeandhoas.com. Click on blogs. On the right side, there's a search button, and it's fantastic. Just put in any topic you want. Up will come every single time we blogged about that topic. Okay, but you got to go to the show's website, condocrazeandhoas.com. I want to take one question from Unbranded Videos, and it says, can you please comment about the new Corporate Transparency Act? I heard that condominiums may be exempted. So what's this Corporate Transparency Act? All of a sudden, the government sent out this new form. They want to try to prevent money laundering and fraud and stuff like that. And it said, okay, fill out this form. We basically want to know everybody who's on the board and very personal questions about everything on everybody that's on the board. And some people were like, wait a minute, I'm not filling this out. I always there's some exemptions to it too. And it's clear to me that the exemptions probably meant to say condos and HOA communities are exempt because it does talk about basically 501c3s, corporations that are charitable, for example. It wasn't meant to be for condominiums. It was meant to be for businesses.
Because condominiums don't make money
and
pay
it's
taxes.
Not for profit stuff. So I always took the position, condos, forget about it, don't worry about it. And then lo and behold, what happens? We just got a final opinion from a trial court, in federal court, in Alabama. Alabama is in the same district as Florida is in on the federal level, right? Alabama, when you appeal, you go to the 11th Circuit. Florida, when you appeal, you go to the 11th Circuit. Trial court in Alabama ruled the Corporate Transparency Act is unconstitutional.
Woo!
Okay? So right now, I take the position it's unconstitutional. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. You might have some attorneys that think the other way. I always said it's a freaking joke. We don't have to fill it out. So far, a court in Alabama agrees. Okay? Back to the phones, Robert.
All right, let's go to Deborah from Tampa.
You're not. Oh, Debbie's in Tampa. Uh-oh.
Hey, Debbie. Oh, yeah, Debbie's batting down the hatches, right?
Y or an IE?
There's no wind here really yet. Anyway, but anyway, I don't agree with regulations, period. But I do agree for regulating boards like mine who waste money and don't do things right the first time.
I got it. Wait, what about our show? Sunday or Thursday?
Oh, Sunday or I think I voted for a 7 p.m. On a weeknight. On a weeknight, is what I voted.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, somebody writes in on the bottom and says, I vote for Thursday, the last person to write in.
Okay. Yeah, because I go to church.
There you go.
So I miss it every other. Yeah.
So you're listening in church right now? Wow, that's amazing.
No. I go to church every other week with my mother. So
gotcha. Okay.
But anyway, our HOA president had at least 2 emergency meetings in 24 this year to discuss a puddle in front of the pool house that I've been writing about with pictures for 2 years, and toilets not flushing right at the pool house or at the pool bathroom, and they replaced them, and they still have the issue. And there was no investigation, obviously, by a plumber, so they're paying twice. Aren't emergency meetings to be held for issues that need immediate attention?
Absolutely.
Is a year or 2 old?
Of course,
Issues considered emergency. And also, she did not post anything. And when she just had a regularly scheduled board meeting, she didn't even put anything on there about the minutes, about the emergency meetings, nothing.
Yeah, so emergency meetings, like you said, are something that all of a sudden came up like, wow, we need to talk about this immediately. You're complaining about the pool problems for the last 2 years. What suddenly makes it an emergency right now? So it's obviously not an emergency, okay? So that should have been posted again with at least 48-hour notice. I'll tell you how emergency things can be taken up, at least in the condo statute. I'm not sure about the HOA statute. The board can take up something on an emergency basis at a meeting and put it right on the agenda right there if a majority of the board majority plus one vote to put it on the agenda, and then it needs to be ratified by the board at the next board meeting. So there's ways to treat things as an emergency. Taking something like this situation, something that Debbie's been complaining about for 2 years, and suddenly calling it an emergency, absolutely not allowed under the law. That should have been put on a regular board meeting agenda and discussed because the board knew about it for years. So Debbie, you're right about that one. Okay. Now, if Debbie,
again, there's nothing we can do.
Right, nobody to complain to, right? But Debbie, let's say, for example, right, you got a storm coming up, right? You got a hurricane bearing down on you now to the Tampa area potentially. Calling an emergency meeting now to make certain decisions, perfectly rational, perfectly reasonable, right? As a matter of fact, you know, the statute, the emergency power statute, probably kicks in once a governor calls a state of emergency.
Right.
So yes, there's certain things that can be done by way of emergency. Taking care of a puddle in front of the bathroom is not one. Okay.
Yeah, but and that's what I'm saying. The problem there still isn't fixed because it wasn't the toilets. They used a handyman, which probably they shouldn't have done.
Got it.
But you know, the problem is too. You know, they didn't put it on the agenda. Most of the owners that weren't at the last board meeting don't even know we had this.
Understood. And again, you know, talk to the hand, right? Nobody to complain to at this point. Sorry about that, Debbie. Listen, stay safe. We got to keep going. Who else we got, Rob?
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Next caller is, oh, I'm not seeing a name. Let's see if you hear a beep. You're on the air.
Let's go nameless.
My name, I apologize. My name is Chris, and I'm in the Sarasota area.
Okay.
How are you,
I
Chris?
realized while listening to this show that I forgot to say my name when I've called in. So
That's quite all right. Thanks.
What do you want?
I'm good, and on when your show airs, I would just opt for both Sunday and Thursday.
That's great. There's a fan. There's a real fan.
He wants more of us.
There's a very intelligent guy. Should be our next governor, right?
Why not do both? It's good stuff.
You got. Thank you.
So my question, I have a couple real quick questions, hopefully quick. And you might have kind of addressed this in your prior one of no one to complain to, but if there are condo disbursements made from an association that never had board approval, what is the recourse for an owner? Does arbitration, mediation, or DBPR complaints cover that, or would it only be by some sort of court action?
So these major disbursements, what are we talking about?
Yes. $420,000.
Going to who?
To payments to owners.
What do you mean by payments to owners?
So there was a skunk works at our condo association after Hurricane Ian, in which a kind of invisible committee paid out $420,000 to owners without it ever being on a board agenda, without ever being considered in a board meeting. And now they're stuck in a mode of what do we do?
Okay.
So there's some board members on the current board that are very concerned with what has happened, that we're not on the prior board or may have been on the prior board. But this situation of it's already happened, there was no approval, And if an owner, I guess there would be two things, Mr. Glazer, would be if an owner had a problem with these disbursements, what would an owner do? And is it arbitration, mediation, or have to go to court?
So the new board.
What would a board member do if you were on the board? If you were on the board now, and you knew this happened just recently before you got on the board, what would you do?
Okay, so let me explain it in a way so that everybody can understand what's happening. Oftentimes, a hurricane comes along, right? And everybody's unit gets basically destroyed, right? The insurance company, condo association puts in a claim with the insurance company. The condo association gets a big check in the mail, and the condo association says, okay, unit of owner of 101, here's a big fat sum of money for you. 102, here's a big fat sum of money for you, and they kind of like divide it up. Always thought it was a little strange because the condo association gets paid to fix up the common elements.
Right.
Right. So what are they doing? Dispersing money in most of the situations.
Insurance money, maybe?
Yeah, insurance money. But why is it being dispersed? That's a responsibility of the condo association to take that money and fix up things. So why they're distributing it in the first place?
Maybe the roof?
I don't know. Roof they should fix.
Okay.
Right. So why
they shouldn't go to the right, the homeowner.
But if they are distributing money, right? Are they distributing it equitably? Are they distributing it fairly? And what you have to do is figure out what the original estimate from the adjuster who came down and looked at the place, how much did that adjuster allocate to that unit? How much did the adjuster allocate to this unit? You want to see that. You want to see what the adjuster allocated to each unit. You want to see what the actual check was for specifically.
Right.
Maybe the board took this unit and gave an extra $50,000 to somebody that they weren't supposed to give the $50,000 to, right?
But the insurance company paid $400,000 to these unit owners. Their insurance should have covered it, right?
In some things, if they had an HO6 policy, yes, right? So you have to figure out, did the board pay things that the unit owners should have had an HO6 policy for? Exactly. Did the board overpay units that shouldn't have gotten all this money based on what the adjuster said of the claim? So yeah, this is not easy. This is not an easy task, but it's a task that the new board absolutely 110% should perform.
Maybe their attorney should look at it?
Absolutely, or an accountant. Have an accountant look at it, right? And I will tell you, if it turns out that other owners got way more than they should have, right? And the money was actually taken away from the condo owners to be used for the common elements. The people who got that money, yeah, sure, you have to go after them.
Claw it back.
Absolutely, you have to claw it back. No two ways about it. So it's a long-winded answer, but that's the answer. You have to get to the bottom of why all the money was paid, who should have gone to pursuant to the insurance company. Did people get paid for things that they should have had an HO6 for? That's what you got to find out. Bottom line, it's going to take some investigation, but it's an investigation that the new board has to do. No two ways about it. All right, let's do this. Yeah, go ahead, really quick.
So when the statute says in it that a board member, an owner doing their own repair or common element repairs requires prior written approval of the board of administration.
Yes.
If the whole program never had any of that, there was never any prior approval, and I think in many cases owners just did the work themselves out of convenience. They wanted to get back in their unit. They didn't want to have to wait for the
Let me ask you
contract
this. Wait, did they put back electric and walls without a permit?
Oh boy.
And you're paying them for that? How dangerous and how negligent is that? How negligent is it for a board to pay somebody to put back electrical work without a permit, right?
You're saying common element, that would be the balcony?
Listen, I don't know what they did, but what I do know is if the board is paying somebody to do work and that work requires a permit and needed to be done by licensed and insured personnel, the board better not be paying for it if that didn't happen, okay? Because if something were to happen, again, I can tell you this, it's very possible that the next time you put an insurance claim, it's voided, okay? And it's not paid. But we got to take our final break of the hour. Keep the calls coming in. You got it. 717-452-9378. Back right after this.
In South Florida, the transition from bright sunshine to heavy rain and hurricanes can take a toll on your property's exterior and structural integrity. Cracked stucco, spalled concrete, they're more than eyesores. They can signal deeper issues. Now, with new Florida laws involving structural integrity requirements, we want to help you meet your milestone inspections and maintain the durability and beauty of your building. Since 2004, PD has been the trusted expert in structural concrete restoration, painting, and waterproofing for condominiums and commercial properties. We address the core of the problem, restoring your concrete's strength and stability to give your property a fresh, attractive appearance for many years to come. Visit pdpaintinginc.com or call us today, 888-416-3204, or scan the QR code to save our contact information.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel of the same name. I just want to point out something hilarious. Our bobbleheads, Eric is wearing turquoise and I'm wearing yellow. And so we're just kind of...
And we didn't even call each other in advance. Look at that.
So funny. Anyway.
Let's go to the board here. Brian writes in, at the organizational meeting, a director nominates themselves for a position on the board. Can they do that as long as they are seconded by another director? Yes, a director can nominate themselves for an officer position. If it's seconded by somebody else, it's put to a vote. And yes, you can nominate yourself, no problem.
But they can also unnominate him and strick it.
Well, if he doesn't get the votes, let's say there's 5 people. I nominate myself to be on the board, seconded by Karen. Now we need the whole 5-member board. If only 2 of us vote for it, it doesn't pass, done. You're not a director. You're not an officer. Barry writes in, I will draft and get the condo reform sponsors to adopt condo and HOA law in the 2025 regular session, that the 2022 to 2024 laws are retroactive, and that is the legislative intent. Barry, the only thing I will caution you about is that's the exact case that I lost in front of the Supreme Court in 2011. I was fighting a law, 718.104, right, where the legislature made it very clear it was to be retroactive, clear intent, and I still lost.
And still does.
Because without Kaufman, period, you can't do it. So, Barry, I understand the law, but that's the exact Cone case. I lost it even though that language was there. Now, there's another question here that asks about making a website with Google Drive. That's
a free website.
Way out of my pay grade. I'm throwing that to you.
And she only has 20 units, so she doesn't required, but she wants to put the documents up.
Robert, what do you suggest for small firms under 25 units?
I think it's interesting that she's using Google Drive. The statutes does mention something about file sharing platforms like that. So if you need to share meeting minutes, if you need to share your association documents, making it available on a platform like that would work. And then what the other part is notice. You have to give notice to all owners when there's a meeting. You could use Outlook for that and send it to all the email addresses, and they would have that on their calendar as a scheduled meeting. And then I think the other part is showing how much people owe, but that would be something separate that you might be able to.
And she wants a one-click kind of situation. Is there a template for a website that doesn't cost anything?
I haven't found a template like that, but you could go to Wix.com or a platform like that, and you could probably build yourself one. They offer free accounts, free websites and stuff.
There you go. Yeah. Some good advice. By the way, I said the wrong statute when I was referring to answering Barry. The statute that was at stake when I did it, when I went to the Supreme Court, was 718.404. And even though that statute had a provision in it that makes it retroactive. You see, it was 718-4042. And it's up on the board there. And this, again, this is where the case where I went to Supreme Court on, where the number of residential units in the condominium equals or exceeds 50% of the total units operated by the association. Owners of the residential units shall be entitled to vote for a majority of the seats of the board. That sounds very fair, right?
Yeah.
If the residents outnumber the commercial unit owners, the residents get to elect a majority of the board. The statute even says this subsection shall apply retroactively as a remedial measure.
They didn't care.
Lost. They still lost.
Contract law.
Yep, because the Supreme Court said constitutional law. Right? Well, you're right. It's a combination of contract law and constitutional law. The Supreme Court said we don't care what this says. The bottom line is, was there Kaufman language? Okay, there was not. Sorry, you lose.
And it had to do with safety, security, and changing
It has to do with this particular
rights.
statute.
The rights.
This statute. This is the statute right here.
But if it was for safety and security.
Maybe.
Okay,
maybe.
that's what you were arguing.
Yeah, I was arguing police powers, that under the police powers of the state, this should be allowed. This change should be allowed. Supreme Court said, nope, without Kaufman language, you lose. So that's why I'm saying this argument that we're going to try to make it retroactive, that we did that, and we tried that, and it lost already. So.
By the way, when I pointed out the bobbleheads,
yes.
Now they want to know where they can get your mugs. Can they get them at the
mugs
Tampa
and
Expo?
bobbleheads?
Where do they get
that's
the
funny.
mugs?
We should bring a few mugs to
They
all
want them
of
in
these.
Tampa.
Okay, we'll bring.
Are they on your website?
You know what? We never did that. If people want to buy them, I didn't want to look like I'm trying to make $10. That's not what I want to do.
No.
If people want to buy them,
swag.
yeah. If people want to buy them for the cost of it, that's great, Robert. Maybe that's something you can do. Put them up. Right, let them not bother you, but go right to the manufacturer. We'll figure out how to do that. You want a bobblehead? You want a mug? We even got the cooler ones. You know, the ones you have a cold drink.
Yeah.
If you'd like that, fine. That would be great. But
here, buy them
please
here.
know
He put
I'm
it
not
up.
looking to
Thank
make
you.
a few bucks.
He already put it up.
There you go.
You're so good. Thank
there
you.
you go. That's great. That's wonderful. Thanks, Rob.
And that's the price that they charge us.
The price, so there, I'm not looking to make $3 on a mug. I promise everybody. Okay, let's go back to the phones.
All right, let's go to Joe in Boynton Beach.
Oh, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, how are you doing?
How are
Great
you?
show.
Sunday or Thursday?
As usual. Nope, I'm a Thursday guy.
You're a Thursday guy.
I like the idea of switching. Of course, I would listen if it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you, Joe.
Thursday
Appreciate
at
it.
7 would be fine.
That's awesome. Much appreciated. How can
No,
we help?
he's got his OnlyFans thing on at 2 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah, I have a problem. I hope it's not too menial of a problem. I don't know how it's going to affect how many people, but it's one of those ridiculous people problems. I serve on a board of 300 condominiums, and we have a professional management company and a CAM on site, of course. We have a resident who happens to have a CAM license and works for another management company and manages properties for a competitive management company. This person is the biggest pain in the rear end you could ever possibly imagine. All this person does is interfere with the operation of the property manager and the association by interfering, disagreeing, writing things on the Facebook page, putting fear and paranoia in the unit owners, and it's a genuine pain in the ass, all right?
Okay.
And I think this person has an agenda because she works for a competitive management company, but she's constantly criticizing the board and the management company and the manager. Now, my question is, can we complain to the DBPR about this person? I mean,
listen, it depends how far.
Do I have a cause here?
It depends how far they go.
This is a nuisance.
Is it? I don't know. I haven't seen it for myself. But what I will tell you is, I can't tell you how many times this came up last week on my honor. When you have people that just won't let you have the meeting, they keep interfering every time the board talks about anything at all. I would record the meeting, okay? Not only would I record the meeting, if it truly gets to a point where the meeting is incapable of being conducted because of the constant interruptions, then you have a police officer at the meeting. You know, it's not a lot of money to have a police officer there, and if it's going to help the board get through its business, you tell the police officer, look, The person is allowed to talk. We give everybody 3 minutes to talk at the end where it says good and welfare or open forum. They're going to get their 3 minutes, but they're not allowed to talk while the board is doing business until we get to that section of the agenda. And Mr. Officer or Mrs. Officer, please keep peace until that time.
Okay.
If it gets to the point where that person keeps interrupting, please remove them. I have no problem with that. And record. People generally behave better when they're being recorded and they know
Except for us.
Now, if they create their own website, as long as there's no confusion, meaning that it's clear it's not the official website of the community, they want to create their own type of website, they can do that. That's the First Amendment, right? You can certainly do that. Of course, like we always say, if they cross the line and they say this board is stealing money, well, now they just that person set themselves up for a defamation lawsuit.
You're a thief.
Yeah, but there's a fine line between, you know, allowing someone to have their First Amendment rights and being a pest.
Right.
But I would do it so that things get in order. I would have you spend a few $100, not every time, you know, like $100 each time, to have an officer there for a few hours, maybe $150 for a few times. And that generally is going to keep things in order. It'll make people behave. And do that a couple of times, and I'm telling you, going forward, things will be better. And if someone's got to be removed, then they got to be removed. Period. End of story. And yes, you know, maybe if that person is completely crazy, completely out of hand, won't let you conduct the meetings, and they know what 718 or 720 requires, I'll tell you this, with the new laws that are directed against managers this year, I would not want to be that manager if you put in a complaint against that manager's license. That's all I'm saying. It just, with this year, the way things are going, I spoke the whole show about managers being in the radar. I wouldn't want to be that manager, especially video of them acting totally nuts. That's all I can tell you. Okay?
Yeah, they are in the hot seat. I got that.
They are in the hot seat.
Oh, you have
They are in the hot seat. But record, and have an officer a few times, and then going forward, I think you'll be fine.
Thank you so much, as usual.
You got it, buddy.
I'm very satisfied with the answer, and I'm going to take your advice. Have a good day.
Thank you. There's one taking our advice. There you go. All right, let's do this. That brings us to the end of the show.
Oh, my God, really? No.
Hour goes fast, huh?
I'm not done.
I know. I'll tell you.
So Thursdays win, by the way.
Thursdays seem to win. Thursdays win the survey. Thursdays win in our
2-1
telephone calls today.
Yep.
So Thursday it is. I think we're going to start it in September. We will give everybody lots of notice, okay? But in the meantime, thank you for tuning in today on Sunday, okay? And we'll do a couple of Sundays more in a row, then we'll make the switch. It's been an honor to be with you again today. Everybody have a wonderful, safe week. If you need legal help off the air, Rob, where do they go? You can put it up there. Call Glazer and Sachs off the air, 954-983-1112, 954-983-1112.
Oh, you're a lawyer. You're an attorney.
I'm an attorney. Sometimes we charge for what we do. You're not even going to believe it. Okay? Again, everybody, will see you next Sunday.
Thank
For
you.
now, next Sunday, 11 a.m., Condo Craze and HOAs. Have a wonderful, safe week.
Thanks, Eric.
Okay.